let's have a look at some honest Call of Duty opinions. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BlancOnline. Today we're gonna have a look at some honest Call of Duty opinions, a Reddit edition. I may do like a TikTok edition, a YouTube edition, but today we're doing a Reddit edition. The Call of Duty Reddits and the subreddits are famously known for having Nazi moderators, people who just no criticism, you know what I mean? Like absolutely no criticism about the game whatsoever. I've managed to get a couple on each the Warzone subreddit and the Cold War subreddit, and then I'm gonna read them out. We're gonna discuss them, we're gonna read them, we're gonna share our thoughts and opinions on Call of Duty using the Reddit platform. So let's get into some honest COD opinions. Alright, the first one is from the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War subreddit, and we have, why are people complaining about masked operators? I personally like them. Masks look badass in my opinion, but they're too edgy. Well, isn't that the point? They're supposed to be stereotypical 80s bad guys. They'd look less evil villains without the mask. First off, my first thoughts on this is just don't buy it. Just don't buy the skin bundles. Don't do any of that super crap. Don't buy any battle passes. Don't do any of that just garbage. Don't buy any cosmetics. Don't do that. Second of all, it's meant to be an 80s Cold War themed game, and you're telling me you're gonna put some superhero like villain characters in there? So he's saying here they're supposed to be stereotypical 80s bad guys. I didn't see any stereotypical 80s bad guys that looked like some super villain out of DC or Marvel comics. The next one we have here is a bit of a long one, so I'll read it. Playing solo is hard to genuinely have fun as a good player when I'm consistently getting teammates who do absolutely nothing to help the team clinch the win. Very interesting title, and it clickbaited me into reading this. Being forced to play against my curated equals in almost every match I play isn't what I like doing in a COD game, but if the design philosophy behind the game pushes me to do it, I'll just adapt to it and just go with the flow. Alright, let's have a conversation about this first point. Being forced to play against my curated equals, that is fair enough. That is obviously skill-based matchmaking, like we all know is there. But what I don't like is how, if the design philosophy behind the game pushes me to do it, I'll just adapt to it and go with the flow. That's a bit of a beta mentality. I don't know if y'all agree with me on that. That's a bit of a beta cuck mentality where it's sort of like, if people are making you do something, you just do it because they're making you do it. It's really beta to me, but I mean, we'll just keep going, we'll keep reading. But in lobbies where me and my enemies can both give each other a good amount of competition, getting all the absolute worst players thrown into my team because the game saw something that I had and my opponent didn't was enough to get me the job of carrying 3 paste eaters. Paste eaters who do absolutely nothing to benefit the team, be it throwing themselves into objectives or taking some responsibility by destroying any streaks they feed the enemy team. That is 100% true. It is the team balancing aspect of the matchmaking system here in Call of Duty. It's not something new to Cold War either. This player seems to be a newer Call of Duty player from just by the way that he's talking about things and the way that I sort of perceive his or her understanding of the game franchise as a whole. It is understandable. Team balancing has always been within Call of Duty. There's always been that idea that if you're a half decent player, you will be put with worse players because the game will perceive you to be having the ability to carry them through the team, and that is completely right. Over the years, there has been like teammates or people who are playing the game, especially when solo queuing, are less likely to go for objectives and shooting down score streaks, especially here in Cold War. Everybody just wants to either camp or just get a high KD, so no one's gonna go for the B flag, no one's gonna go for hard points, and no one's gonna shoot down UAVs, counter UAVs, airstrikes, helicopters, that sort of stuff either. So that second paragraph, completely correct. I've been on the opposite end of this too, and I've seen someone who's better than me shoulder the role of being a carrier while his team is getting bombarded with streaks from my team, and it feels as though the game is determined to give players with good stats and recent performance all the worst players just to manipulate their gameplay and give them a loss. I don't think it's to manipulate their gameplay and give them a loss. The whole idea of the matchmaking system is to entice people to continuously play the game. And if the bad players on your team are continuously playing the game even though they're losing, and then even though they're not doing well, then the matchmaking algorithm will continue to cater games and continue to cater teams towards those people. It's the idea that even if these people are buying skin bundles and battle passes and continuously playing the game for a regular basis for a couple of days, let's say for maybe a couple of hours as well, for a wider period of time, it's going to cater matchmaking towards them, because the game knows that they can do continuous things, and the algorithm within the game knows that it can put bad players with good players, and even if one good player leaves, that's 5 bad players that will keep queuing up in matchmaking. So that's exactly how it works there. The game won't want to manipulate your gameplay to make you lose. The game will manipulate your gameplay in order for other people to continuously play the game, if that makes sense. Because it obviously makes no sense in a game already designed to match players with other players who are capable of competing with them. If anything, all players in the lobby should have a certain KD and SPM range between the best and worst players, because while this undoubtedly makes lobbies more competitive, increase server queue times, because it's drawing from a smaller player pool, it's going to actually make matches less manipulatable English by the game and give more freedom to the players. Because as a 2 KD player, I see absolutely no reason why players with a 0.5 KD and SPM under 400 should be on my team, let alone the lobby. If they're on my team, I'm not having a good time because I've got 3 idiots feeding my team. Alright, I'm having a hard time believe this section of his argument. He's saying he's a 2 KD player and saying he's being matched up with 0.5 KD players and players who get SPM under 400. I don't know if he's talking about just the specific lobbies where their KD goes 0.5 and their SPM's under 500 and not their overall KD ratio and that sort of stuff. Because personally, I've never seen anyone under a 1.5 KD in my lobbies, and I've never seen anyone under, say, like a 800 SPM in my lobbies either. So if this guy if he's a 2 KD player, if he's managing to find people who are of that 0.5 KD and under 400 SPM people in his lobbies, then something is going on there in terms of a matchmaking point of view. This player here could be buying skin bundles, because we know that that's a factor within matchmaking. If you're buying skin bundles, then you will get easier lobbies. If you have queued with players who are worse than you before, then you'll get easier lobbies. The matchmaking system is not purely based on skill, it's majority based on skill, but it's skill as well as how much money you put into the game as well. I don't know. I don't know if I can fully agree with this point here. I do agree that you get worse players on your team if you are better, but I don't know if he's completely being truthful about what kind of players he's finding in his lobbies. And the final point here, if a strict matchmaking system like this is what the game is after, then actually have matches that are competitive and not a game to see how much pressure the best player in the lobby can shoulder before they crack. If the matchmaking wants to be strict, then be properly strict. Else bring back the Black Ops 4 style system where losing a game like this was because of team balancing, but from a random assortment of 12 players every time. Okay, I have a couple thoughts on this last one. The matchmaking is strict, and it's stricter than it's ever been, especially in Cold War. So Cold War Modern Warfare 2019 has some of the strictest matchmaking that has ever been in a Call of Duty game from a skill point of view. So it's been strict. It's not the fact that the matchmaking doesn't make sure and ensure that one player is carrying the load. Although it may seem like that at times, it's based on a variety of different factors that we've talked about within this video already. It's not a matchmaking system that depends on putting pressure on one player. Like the whatever, if we're talking about, say it's a person and the matchmaking system's a person and the person is reviewing all 12 players in the lobby, that one person who's reviewing those 12 players is not singling out, say, yourself or myself and saying like, that's the best player in the lobby, let's put the worst players on the lobby in that team. It doesn't work like that. It's a team balancing algorithm, and while at times it can seem like you have 5 other people who are complete garbage, they're not gonna put, if you're the best player in the lobby, they're not gonna put the second best player in your team either, or the 3rd or the 4th. They might put the 5th and the 6th, but they won't put the other best players in the lobby with you. It's gonna balance. It's that way. They're talking about the last point here where he says bring like a Black Ops 4 style system where losing a game was based off of team balancing. That's exactly the same thing that's in Cold War. The team balancing algorithm hasn't changed from what I know and from what other YouTubers know as well. The only thing that's changed is how strict skill-based matchmaking is, and if skill-based matchmaking is stricter and there's different like matchmaking algorithms to do with monetization and that sort of stuff, then that's going to make the lobbies seem harder and seem harder for you to play in if your teammates are worse, if that makes sense. Because since the competition is so much greater with a skill-based matchmaking based system combined with team-based matchmaking, combined with like monetization sort of stuff, it's going to make your lobbies harder. And that's just a direct consequence of SBMM, pretty much. We talked on that one for too long. Let's get on to the next one, which is on the Warzone subreddit. And it starts by saying this: I know we're hyped about the new season and all, but we should really consider not buying anything from the shop, Battle Pass included. Activision Blizzard must pay for what they've done. So this is obviously a continuation on the current lawsuit that's happening over at Activision, and with the employees doing like a walkout and that sort of stuff, like a protest type of thing. But we'll get into what it says. Basically what it says in the title: I'm running this as someone who has played every single COD since COD 2 and Warzone since day 1 until yesterday, and also a former Blizzard fan. I know it may sound bad, but based on what's going on, all these things that I won't say, I really think those guys don't deserve anything from us, their customers. You can keep playing the game if you want, just don't spend any money in the store. In case you should also remember that they are the same guys that are releasing empty updates full of microtransactions in order to milk the players, releasing over and over the same game and not giving a F about the increasing number of hackers. If you really want change, you have to fight for it. I 100% agree with everything that this person is saying. I'm surprised that it hasn't been taken off the subreddit yet, but it was only posted 9 hours ago, so they might not have seen it just yet. And I'm talking about the Nazi mods that are within the Call of Duty Reddits. I 100% agree with what this person is saying. I'm gonna have a look and see if there's any people like saying no. I like this one: you are buying from the store. I've spent a grand total of $5 to get me a battle pass, and I've been able to buy each subsequent battle pass and a new skin along the way, which is fair enough. Which you can. If you complete the battle pass, you get enough COD points to buy the next one. What skins? I spent $10 on the pass and earned $12, 4 seasons, 300 COD points. All operators are $24. What do you get? While I will likely play less than a handful of rebirths next season, depending on how drunk I get, it won't matter. Activision will rake in another 100 mil plus next season through microtransactions, game sales, etc. We won't see an anti-cheat, FOV slider, new map content that doesn't suck, etc, etc. Folks will still blow their wads on new bundles so they can look hip and trendy as they get aimbotted. Activision will read some posts here and get a small chuckle, and immediately resume to not give a single F, and I don't blame them. They got a cash cow and isn't gonna slaughterhouse anytime soon. Now this is exactly the thing about it, man. Like, 100% agree with what Jazz is saying, and 100% agree with the sentiment behind it all, because I agree with every single thing that he's saying and every single thing most of the people in the comments are saying as well. A lot of people need to do this. It can't just be people on this subreddit, and it can't just be people who engage and interact with Call of Duty content online on various different social media platforms. It has to be the casual audience as well, and unfortunately the casual audience just doesn't have that connection to the various different outlets that Call of Duty has within the internet space: YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever, right? Twitch, right? They just don't, because they don't care enough to get involved with Call of Duty in that way. If a casual fan can play the game for a couple of hours every night, have a couple of fun games in Verdansk and Rebirth, and buy a skin bundle or buy the battle pass or whatever, then they will continue to do that and they will not care. And while I'm sure that most of the casual audience knows about the hackers, and I'm sure more people, I guess, know about what's going on in Activision Blizzard in terms of the lawsuit and all that sort of stuff, I don't think the casual audience cares enough to buy into something like this. I think that more than ever, I think we need more sort of bigger YouTubers to take hold of this sort of sentiment and say, look man, we're not spending money on Warzone anymore. We're not going to buy the battle pass anymore. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. And while a lot of YouTubers are doing it, there's too many little beta cuck males that will just buy anything that Activision puts out there, or say yes to Activision whenever they tell them to do something, just because they want a COD creator code, or they want a free game next time, or they want some free loot sent to their house, or whatever, right? They want to be Activision partners. They want to be in the Activision good books. So by doing this sort of thing, so by boycotting essentially Activision and not buying anything in the shop, it hurts their opportunity to get that sort of partnership with Activision, so they won't do it. So while yes, I agree with the sentiment 100%, it's something that I genuinely want to do, and I've been doing. It's just not something that I see ever happening. And while a lot of us do want change, while a lot of us, yes, say we will fight for it, there's so many other people, and I think the amount of people that won't give a shit or won't care to do this sort of stuff just overwhelmingly outweighs the people that will. and that sucks. We have our last COD opinion, and I feel like I might have some words to say about this one. Unpopular opinion. I love this game. Interesting. I did make a video talking about how I fell in love with Warzone again, and I'm falling out of love with Warzone, but we'll get to that when I come to it. Let's get into this post. This is obviously not going to be received well, since the vast majority of this community seems negative towards the game, and I respect that, but I actually love this game. So right now, as soon as I read that first argument, I can already tell that Sobalor is some sort of Activision Blizzard beta cuck. And he will take anything that Bobby Kotick throws at him. The big disclaimer is that I play on PlayStation with crossplay disabled, so I've never encountered cheating, at least not blatantly. I completely understand that this ruins the game for players on PC. Well, Sobalor, beta cuck Activision stan, cheating is on PlayStation. There are various hacks on PlayStation. There are also chronozens. There are various things that you can do on console to cheat on not only Warzone, but Cold War and Modern Warfare as well. So cheating and hacking and exploiting and whatever is not a PC only issue. It is a game issue. It is on every platform. And I don't know how you have not encountered a cheater. I feel like he probably has, and he just hasn't like caught on to it yet. But again, we're 2 paragraphs in, and I can already just smell the beta cuck on this guy. Yes, the gas mask animation is annoying, and people using glitches is not fun, and I didn't like the inclusion of Cold War either, but for a game at this size, I'm actually really pleased with how few bugs there are. The game just generally runs very smoothly. I've got way too many days of playtime, and I have rarely or never experienced the typical glitches and bugs you encounter in big games. Well, we're 3 out of 3, and I can truly say that this is some beta cuck male. He's really not talking about the real issues here. Content, maps, microtransactions, hacking is the big one, skill-based matchmaking, but he talks about the gas mask animation and glitches. And he talks about he doesn't like Cold War being in the game. I mean, Cold War was always going to be in the game. I don't know where or why this person ever thought that Cold War was never going to be integrated. Cold War's integration with Warzone boosted the sales of Cold War, so this was always going to happen. And I don't know if this person didn't think it was happen, or I don't know why this person would be against it. I just don't think the thing with Warzone is I don't think that game would survive just completely based off the Modern Warfare 2019 guns. Sure, you can have the engine, but I don't think it can completely survive based off of MW 2019 assets and continuous content. It's struggling with content now with 2 games and 2 games worth of content, and it's struggling right now with that. So if you genuinely think that this game could have survived content wise without Cold War's integration, then you're just kidding yourself. Let's get into the last one. I guess this post is pointless since I'm not actually asking anything and no one asked about my opinion, but it's certainly interesting how much I enjoy this game compared to all the negativity in the community. Oh, also, it's literally a free game. Well, yeah, it's a free game, and the fact that it's a free game and there's no anti-cheat is part of the problem, is it not? I'm interested to see some of the comments here. Let's see the first one. There's a reason why thousands and even millions of players come back to get abused by Warzone. At its core, it's a good game. I do agree with that. At its core, Warzone is a good game. And up until recently, it was managed horribly. Raven has really made improvements towards the game, and if you really remove the cheating problem, the game is in its best, most playable state it has been since maybe the Grau meta, which would be the golden days to a lot of people. I do agree with that. The game is great, and there's a reason it has reached this high. Let's just pray it gets an anti-cheat. I don't know a long shot, but aren't most prayers. I do agree with a lot of the points that this person made. I do think that Warzone at its core is a good game. I do think that, and I do think that Raven, with their move to increase the TTK, is a good move. Their move in terms of weapon balancing is really good as well. But the problem is content, and the problem is cheating. And those are 2 massive problems. So I don't think you can say that Warzone is a good game when there are clear and obvious problems with the game, if that makes sense. It's like if you submitted an essay, like a final essay type of thing, and you knew that there were heaps of grammatical and spelling errors, and you missed a paragraph, and you didn't do an introduction. It's like saying you submit that and it's like a good essay. You could have had an amazing first, second, third conclusion paragraph, but it's all grammatically incorrect and there's no introduction. Like, you can't submit that essay and say it's a good essay, if that makes sense. That's my analogy and I'm gonna run with it. This person replies, I agree in part. I love Warzone. Not only is it a game and is it a great game at its foundation, but it launched at the perfect time. A lot of folks who are forced to stay indoors. Yes, I do 100% agree with this, that Warzone, when it released at a very good time. Having said that, the game has been allowed to fall in a state of despair by Activision, 100%. Warzone is like a once beautiful home. It is now, yep, I 100% agree. Warzone was great and it now is shadow of its former self. Yes. I love and hate this game. At the moment, I am more negative towards Warzone, but only because it could be incredible if the devs made some basic changes and get a few things right. You're not wrong. The biggest issue at the moment is, as a PC player, the horrific cheating. I really hope this is where they're focusing their attention, and I don't think they are focusing their attention on that. He's waiting for Battlefield. Yep, 100%. I do agree with a lot of the things that these people are saying. And to start off with the first sort of point from Sublore, definitely a beta cuck male, someone that just doesn't, I don't understand the mindset behind this. Like, how can you get Verdansk 1984 as your big new content update and say that's a big new content update? Like, Verdansk is so boring. It's so boring, and the way that the game is and the way that the game plays, it's so boring, especially on a big map. The only thing I can stomach is playing Rebirth, because Rebirth is a smaller map, and you can argue that Rebirth isn't even battle royale because there's respawning. Like, there's respawning up until like third zone or like end of third zone. So realistically, to finish off this point, you can love the game, you can have your opinion on loving the game, and I 100% respect anyone's opinion that they have on Call of Duty, because I sort of expect the same thing. If I can respect your opinion, I expect that people can respect my opinions on the game as well. As a majority, like a major sort of multiplayer fan, as a multiplayer sort of player, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not a battle royale player by any scope of the imagination. I'm a multiplayer fan first and foremost. Warzone is a good game, I do agree, but there's so many problems with Warzone, man, and the unfortunate thing is that this game is being over relied upon by Activision. Activision is really looking at Warzone as Warzone is the one that's going to bring the money with the players, and we're going to focus on Warzone. So every single Call of Duty game from now until Warzone completely goes bust is going to be a DLC for Warzone. And since this person didn't like the Cold War integration, well, let me tell you, when next year rolls around and the next game rolls around, you're going to have World War II Vanguard integrations. You're going to have Modern Warfare 2019, Black Ops Cold War, and World War II Vanguard weapons within the game, assets, operators, everything like that. So if you don't like it the first time, you're going to get it again. So that's all I have to say. I do respect the opinion. I don't agree with it whatsoever, and I think that you're a beta cuck male. Alrighty, that was COD opinions. I really enjoyed doing that. That was really fun. I think I'm gonna do more of these videos. Whether this does well or not, I'm gonna keep doing it because I did enjoy it. I just talked for like 25 minutes just speaking my mind on Call of Duty, and I did genuinely enjoy that. And if you guys did, make sure you leave a like, comment down below any of the opinions that we just discussed and talked about. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on those as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section, and click subscribe for more honest COD thoughts and opinions. Maybe we do a TikTok one next time, and maybe we do a YouTube one next time. I don't know. We'll figure something out, but I did genuinely enjoy doing this. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Me and Lil J, we Scotty MJ. Bashing the rock, we're hitting the fade. Pull up in a whip with 21 bays. Here come the bastards, 21 days. Gun you, boy, I know he's a waste. Baby, I know that you want a little taste. I know you want all the bass in your face. Brand new bag and brand new nails. Me and Lil J, we Scotty MJ. Bashing the rock, we're hitting the fade. Pull up in a whip with 21 bays. Here come the bastards, 21 days.